If these walls could speak, they would scream. They would whisper tales of agony, resilience, and stolen dreams. Millions of Africans passed through its gates, never to return to life as they knew it. The door of no return was their final passage, leading them down into the unknown, never to see their homeland again. European ministers preached about love and salvation on the top floor, while directly beneath their feet, their fellow human beings screamed in agony. Cape Coast and Elmina Castles in Ghana were once centers of unimaginable horror, where over 12 million Africans were branded, chained, and forced through the infamous door of no return. They were processed like cattle before being shipped across the Atlantic. This was a place designed to break human spirits, but now generates more money in a single year than it did during its entire 300-year operation as a slave fortress. Today, Cape Coast Castle stands as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a place of remembrance and reflection. It is a painful reminder of the past, but also a beacon of resilience. Visitors walk through its corridors, honoring the lives lost and ensuring that history is never forgotten or repeated. This is the untold story of how Ghana's most painful place became its most profitable tourist attraction. The Cape Coast reveals both disturbing secrets and a surprising economic transformation. From torture chambers to a $75 million tourism engine, these are the places where history's greatest crime now funds university scholarships for the descendants of those who suffered here. The most shocking aspect of these castles is that while hundreds suffered in the dark dungeons below, European officers lived in luxury apartments above, holding church services every Sunday with hymns of salvation drowning out the cries for mercy. The church room at Cape Coast Castle sits directly above the women's dungeon, where enslaved females were routinely assaulted and abused. These very flower beds, still original, were the only barrier between prayers above and torture below. There is a local saying that captures this hypocrisy, and it goes, "Heaven and hell were separated by just 6 inches of wood." Before the infamous door of no return, enslaved people faced a final humiliation in this selection room. Through this small window, European merchants would inspect human slaves like livestock, deciding their market value before purchase. What's rarely discussed is how these castles created modern business practices. The meticulous record-keeping of human cargo, some preserved right here, essentially invented corporate accounting. The spreadsheet on your computer traces its origins to these ledgers where humans were reduced to numbers. The infamous door of no return holds a secret most tourists never see. After independence, Ghana created this inscription on the sea-facing side, reading "Door of No Return," symbolizing the invitation for their descendants to come back home. As a local leader explained, the return is not just physical, but spiritual, a reconnection with what was forcibly terminated. Castle records document numerous rebellion attempts, including a female-led uprising in Elmina Castle in 1733 that nearly succeeded in overtaking the fortress. These weren't passive victims, they were warriors who never stopped fighting. For every 10 enslaved people who submitted, records show that one died fighting for freedom. The numbers reveal an economic transformation. Castle tourism employs 5,500 people directly, more than 10 times the total number of Europeans who worked in these buildings during the 300 years of slave trade. Tourism finances university education for over 1,200 local children annually in the same region where literacy was once punishable by death for enslaved people. The average tour guide now earns more in a month than a colonial administrator earned in a year when adjusted for inflation. For every white European who once profited from these castles, 15 Ghanaians now support their families through tourism here. In 2019, Ghana's Year of Return campaign, asking their descendants to visit their ancestral homeland, nearly doubled national tourism revenue from $980 million to $1.9 billion. One marketing campaign created 45,000 new jobs virtually overnight. Steve Harvey's tearful visit reached over 15 million followers. "I didn't expect to feel this way," he said while breaking down. "I was brought to tears." Within 48 hours, booking sites for Ghana crashed. Music legend Stevie Wonder made headlines when he announced, "I want to see this nation smile again, and I want to see it before I move to Ghana. I'm going to do that. I'm going to move permanently to Ghana." Tourism officials reported a 32% spike in inquiries following his announcement. Stars like Idris Elba, Naomi Campbell, and T.I. joined the pilgrimage, with Cardi B's Ghana visit generating a 217% increase in travel searches. The Year of Return generated more tourism dollars in 12 months than these castles produced in profit during their 300-year operations as slave fortresses. This economic miracle raises uncomfortable questions. Is it appropriate to sell souvenirs at what amounts to a mass gravesite? Should descendants pay entrance fees to visit places built with their ancestors' blood? One vendor is recorded saying, "I carved miniature door of no return sculptures. I know the irony. I'm profiting from my ancestors' pain, but I've hired 5 women from my village who had no income before." Is that exploitation or healing? Ghana has pioneered ways to balance profit and respect, creating commercial free zones for reflection, funding memorials with tourism dollars, and reaching 50,000 plus Ghanaian students yearly with their education programs. A Ghanaian museum official is quoted saying, "We are not whitewashing history to sell tickets. These sites were designed to process humans as products. Now, we are using that same history to generate opportunities for their descendants." Show me a more powerful form of historical justice. Perhaps the most powerful chapter in this story is the DNA testing that now connects African Americans directly to specific Ghanaian villages. Cameras now capture families discovering their DNA matched in villages just 20 miles from the Cape Coast Castle. From human cargo to human capital, Ghana has engineered a very profound reversal. Places designed to destroy human value now generate it instead. Can tourism heal historical wounds or just profit from them? Is Ghana's approach genius or is it exploitation? Share your thoughts in the comments, especially if you visited sites like this. Subscribe for more exploration of Africa and histories of different communities. My name is Meta. And that is it from Safari and African. Bye.